What is up, and welcome back. If this is your first time watching, we are your Emerald Coast relocation team, and this has been coming up quite a bit with all the hurricane stuff that has been going down in Florida, with recently Milton and then before that Helene. We've been getting a lot of our family and then also friends asking us, are you okay? Have you had enough? Are you out of there? Are you leaving Florida? And let me preface this by saying that we weren't directly hit by either of these hurricanes, but my immediate response to them was no, not at all. We did have a property down in Largo, which is right outside of Tampa Bay, that unfortunately did get hit by Milton. Unfortunately, our renters did have to evacuate, and they are not going to be able to get back into the property until we make that property livable again. But I could tell you right now that even if we had a direct impact from a hurricane here, it's just not an option for that. And I'm going to be covering 5 reasons why, and make sure you stick around, because the very last reason that I'm going to go over is the number one reason why we did move into Florida and why we are not leaving. So the first one we're going to be talking about is education. When we were talking about moving out of Colorado, we were kind of looking into Texas a little bit, because Texas was always kind of known for having great schools and everything. And we would know that we want our kids to go to a great school, whether it be public or whether we're paying for private. And Florida really wasn't on that radar back in 2020. Well, over the last couple years, it has actually been rated the #1 state for education by U.S. News and World Report. And here are the metrics that they use when they are considering, which state is the best in regards to education. So here we go. I'm going to try, I think there's 10 of them. Here we go. So the first one's preschool enrollment. Next one is college readiness. The next one is NAP reading scores. The next one is NAEP math scores. I probably don't have to say the next one every time. Then you got high school graduation rates. You have debt at college graduation, college tuition and fees, educational attainment, 2-year college graduation rate, and 4-year college graduation rate. Now, in this report, when I was reading it, it did state that a big reason why Florida is #1 is because of the grade that they have in higher education. I believe Florida was rated #1 in higher education, and that really did boost up Florida's numbers. But if we go look specifically at the Emerald Coast, this is another reason. We saw the education, we saw the gradings of the schools that were here. Like, this is fantastic. Initially we were looking closer to our property outside of Tampa and the Largo area, and we weren't too impressed with the schools. If you go further south into like Sarasota, they have great schools down there. They have a great school system down there. But we saw the school system in this area that we fell in love with after buying our first property here. Like, those schools are awesome. So I'm just going to go over the grades real quick in regards to the 3 counties in the Emerald Coast. So you got Escambia County, which the majority of that is your Pensacola area. That is going to be rated AB. You look at Santa Rosa County, where you got Gulf Breeze, Milton, Pace, you got Navarre, all these areas right here. That is rated an A-. And then you got Okaloosa County. That's where we start breaking down into Fort Walton Beach, into Destin, into Niceville, these cities like that. And so all these school areas, I mean, like I said, Escambia was the lowest one on the chart, but you still go across the board and you have some fantastic schools in the Emerald Coast. And we're like, yes, this is where we want to be. We want to make sure that, because we were doing private school with our kids back in Colorado, if we are going to be trying out public schools, that the schools are at least rated highly. The second reason, without getting too political, is the governor, Ron DeSantis. He was one of the big reasons when I was back in Colorado, seeing all the awesome stuff that he did during COVID, how he was a leader in it, and he wasn't just going by the wayside of what the news and everyone else was saying. He was like, listen guys, this is how we're going to run this. I am talking with my own health experts. This is what they're saying. And he was a true leader in that. But there's a few other things. I mean, he is spearheading education. That's a big reason why I feel like Florida was, ranked the highest by U.S. News and World Report for 2 years in a row. You also look at his disaster response, the how he took leadership in Hurricane Ian. That was the big one. We actually had family and friends down here for Hurricane Ian. Us personally, we weren't here yet, but just talking about his response, how he was so prepared, how he made sure that the state government was there to help out anyone in need, and everyone was super satisfied. And I think that's a big reason why he did win in a landslide in his re-election bid. And then two, I guess, semi-controversial ones, depending on who's watching this video, is just how he is against the woke culture. He's always pushing back on that, and that's something that really appealed to us, since we were pretty much only living in a woke culture. And then love how he tears down reporters sometimes who have an agenda-driven question. It's like you can tell that this is a governor who is all about the citizens, all the people who are living within Florida, and that is his main goal. I was actually watching during this whole Milton thing. He was doing an interview with the press, and the guy looked freaking exhausted, you know. And so this video is going to post. So today is Thursday, so a week from today. So this will be a little dated. Or no. Let me think about it. No, today's Friday. Wow, my days are everywhere right now. But so the hurricane, it pretty much, you know, it hit a couple days ago, and you could tell this guy was working his butt off to make sure that everything was getting done, that he was helping out his citizens. He just looked exhausted. It's like, dude, I mean, you got a team, man. You got to take a rest, because if you're sitting here and you're super drowsy and you're not getting enough sleep, you're not going to be as effective. But you can just tell this is a governor who cares about what he's doing in Florida. And he's not sitting here trying to be driven by any agendas or anything like that. He just truly cares about his conservative principles and making sure that he makes Florida the best state in the United States. The third thing that we loved and why we are not leaving Florida after these hurricanes is the old school values. And this, I will say this, I can't speak too much about some other areas. I can speak a little bit about the Tampa area because we have a property down there and we've been down there quite a bit. But when we are talking about the Emerald Coast, you do get that Southern hospitality. You do have those old school values that we were really looking for when relocating out of Colorado. And this is something that we will not leave no matter what. It's like, we're not going to be leaving this area whatsoever. I mean, when we first got here, we were definitely paranoid, because back where we came from, you were seriously always concerned about that white van parked in the cul-de-sac. And then you hear all these stories about, yo, you got everyone watch out of this bus stop, this guy and this bus stop and that person or whatever it might be. And so we were paranoid when we came here, and the kids, it's like, if they were out of our sight, we were seriously like helicopter parents. We're like, where are you going? What are you doing? No, hold on, let me get my stuff. I'm gonna go with you. Or now we could seriously just send our kids to the park with a walkie-talkie, and we feel comfortable doing that. We know that this kind of old school community, these old school values, you know, where they believe in a lot of it backed by like faith and religion, we don't really have to worry too much about that. And at the same time, I'm not gonna be sending my kid to the grocery store at 7 years old or nothing like that. We just kind of let the reins loose a little bit and let them be kids. Go out and play, go over to your friends and knock on the door, do all the things that we really felt like we couldn't do back in Colorado, and we will not leave that. That is something that our kids will always cherish. The fact that they had kind of like I grew up, majority of my childhood was like in the 90s, and I think about that and I was like, man, my kids are never going to have that. That's what I thought back in Colorado, where now I'm here and they're experiencing the same stuff that I did. Hey, don't come in, you know, make sure you come in when the street lights come on, stuff like that. And it just feels so good being in a community, being in an area where we do have those old school values, where we are able to do that. The fourth reason why we will not leave Florida is that beach life. Again, this is pretty specific to the Emerald Coast. Yes, Florida has amazing beaches all around the state, but we have found the best beaches, in my mind, in the country. The beaches that we have in the Emerald Coast, where we're talking about Pensacola, Navarre Beach, Destin, like all these areas, the beaches are amazing. We have that sugary sand that just cannot be beat, and also the lifestyle that comes with living right next to the beach, right? I feel like no matter how stressed I am throughout the day, or if I have one of those days where I just feel like everything is going wrong, the beach has this healing effect to it, where you go there, you put up your canopy, you just sit there, you watch the kids play, and everything just melts away. I feel like you could just do this reset, and I didn't really have that anywhere else where I could have that reset. It seems like the stress and everything just kept piling on and on and on, where here it is truly like a meditation, being able to go to the beach and just let everything just kind of be calm. You really become present, and it's something that I cannot describe. We enjoy the heck out of it, along with the beach life. And then outside of that as well too, just the water that surrounds this whole area, probably a dozen times in my entire life. And now I've been on a boat at least a dozen times in the last 3 months, learning how to sail, all these things that I never really got to do, you know, being in a landlocked state. Yes, we had snowboarding and skiing and all that fun stuff, but just being out in the water, doing the fishing, you know, just kind of having that beach lifestyle, that's what they call it, salt life or whatever it might be. It's amazing, and it's something that we do not want to leave. We want our kids to experience it. We want them to, we put our son through surf lessons. I'm thinking about putting him into sailing lessons. All these awesome things, all these awesome activities that we can do, having that beach lifestyle, and really being able to get our kids to enjoy that beach lifestyle when growing up in their youth. The fifth one, and you guys might have waited around to hear out what was the main reason why we did move into Florida, is because what does DeSantis say? It's where woke goes to die. That's what we were getting away from, guys. So let me tell you a story here. So back in Colorado, the defining moment when I felt like we decided to move to Florida is we did everything we could to shelter our kids from all the woke stuff that was happening in Colorado. So we didn't do public schools. We did a private Christian school when we were in Colorado. We made sure to hang out with the friends that we could trust, that we know they're not going to be doing these, pronouns or none of that crap or whatever it might be. And no matter what we did, it seems like we still ran into that. Whether we're going out to eat and you see a little boy wearing a dress, or you go into sports and you hear kids saying things that they should not be saying, and we're like, it just seems like no matter what we do, we cannot shelter our kids enough so that they aren't exposed to all this crap, all this woke nonsense that seems to be plaguing like the Denver metro area in Colorado. And then coming here, it's just a breath of fresh air. You don't have to deal with any of that stuff. Just let kids be kids. Don't worry about any of this other crap that all the schools and everything and all these other areas are trying to put into their heads. Just let them grow up and be kids. And everyone, here's the biggest pushback that we always get is people like, well, they're going to experience it eventually when they're older and stuff. Yes, but we want to make sure that we build a solid base, based in faith and morals and values, and then they could do with that whatever they want as they grow older. But as long as we build that solid base with our kids, that's what we really wanted. That way they weren't confused. They could just be kids, and we could raise them the best way that we could without any of that nonsense interference coming from the outside. All right, guys, thank you so much for watching these videos. So what we try to do is, of course, we try to experience to as many of these areas as possible so you can kind of like really catch eyes on it. But at the same time, there's times when you guys are asking us questions or family members are asking us questions, and it's like, hey, if you guys and our family and everyone else is asking us questions, this might be something that you want to know. And so that's why we like to do videos like this, just to really talk about it, to really kind of give you some exposure actually being here in the Emerald Coast. If you are looking at personal real estate, moving down into the Emerald Coast, make sure you give us a call or text at that phone number right below. Right below right there. We always answer. It doesn't matter date or time, but if you're not quite ready to purchase, make sure you do yourself a favor and inform yourself on the latest stuff coming into the Emerald Coast by smashing that subscribe button. Give us a thumbs up, notification bell. That way you're notified every single time we put out a brand new video. Until next time, we love you.